Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Pro Wrestling World Talks with Dan and Mac.
On a week where ESPN decides to nuke WWE as far as reviews is concerned,
shit!
it's like, hey, it's our first match, it's our first event. You know that we paid all this money for it, and then we're gonna rate it a C. And this is coming from the same network. They'll be broadcasting on Monday Night Football this week the 0-3 Miami Dolphins against the 0-3 New York Jets. And also they employ Michael Burke. Thank you, everybody, for watching or listening to Pro Wrestling World Talks on Diamond Podcasting Productions on YouTube or PWW Talks under Audacity, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you get your podcasts. We are there. Of course, Apple as well. You want to be able to throw them out there, considering their fact, I believe, I was talking to my dad tonight, I believe they just upgraded to new iPhones. So they're firmly in balance now. It's so interesting that in 2025, I never thought I would be hearing the words iPhones come from my parents, but they both have them. It's funny how the world works, but also shows you how easy it is for someone to operate an iPhone or an iPad for that matter. That is why most of the time, if you work in the public education system, you usually tend to have young kids play with an iPad before you would a Chromebook, because a Chromebook is somewhat still what of a computer where they're going to have to type in and do all that fun stuff, where they just have to really swipe and touch an iPad. There's really no keyboard you have to deal with at certain points because it is so user-friendly. I am your host of the program, Daniel Burke, and I am as joined as ever by my best friend for over 20 years and the co-host of this program, Mac. Thank you again for coming onto the program and talking about a C-level show, according to ESPN, and also talk about the fallout of All Out.
It might, I don't know. It might be 0.
0 stars, both shows. End of show. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Run the credits. Let's get the hell out of here. Yes, we have to talk about what has transpired last Saturday and also the events that have taken place since. There have been quite a bit of fallout that's been going on from those two events, but also, too, AEW has added another championship to their already bloated championship kind of collection, you could say. And it's like not only they're a T-shirt company, they've become a belt company. And I'm kidding, of course. I know that was the early joke, especially one that I used to play very hard when they first came in, because I was just like, they're just a T-shirt company. That was what you said, because it was like everybody was talking about how they were the greatest wrestling company of all time, and they hadn't had one show yet. And so they decided that they have added a women's tag team division in a women's tag team championship. As Mac and I have been talking on this program for the last several weeks, we have talked about the lack of depth in their tag team division as far as women is concerned. Maybe they're going to start making some moves to get some certain talent, and maybe swing some talent from not deciding to open up an OnlyFans page. Or unless you're some people out there that wrestled in WWE and also decided to open up an OnlyFans page and then suddenly wake up and realize, wait a second, I want to turn the clock back. And you decide to DM strike anything that you're involved with, not only in pro wrestling, but also your OnlyFans situation as well. So, yeah. I mean, Lacey Evans, everybody. Lacey Evans.
Oh, shit.
So, on a week where WWE decided to take the money and go to ESPN, they decided that they were going to put out a performance that was highly questionable at best. As a C rating, I thought ESPN was more generous than I probably would have been because it was a lack of effort. I felt like they put more into the Netflix debut episode than they did with this. Maybe it's because of the fact that the creative process is beginning to heavily wear on not only Triple H, but also several other members of the creative team. I understand that you have a lot of shows you guys have to do, but here's the thing about wrestling, right? And
Whose fault is that, though, that they have too many shows to do?
That's
Whose
theirs.
fault is that?
Because they decide they're just going to keep taking money and taking money and taking money. Oh, by the way, has anybody bought their WrestleMania tickets for next year yet?
What? You mean the down payment on a house? No, I haven't.
Jesus, God almighty. This is an industry that was built on cheap tickets, right? I mean, it was supposed to be affordable for people to take. It was the last bastion, as far as I was concerned, as far as reasonable ticket prices for you to be able to take your kids. That has been priced out. I mean, this is... I will be going to the House of Mouse in about a month. Less than a month, actually. And this little soiree in Orlando is going to cost significantly less than what WWE is now charging for their tickets and also stretching the dollar more. Now, I'm not going to complain about all the platforms that you have to be a subscriber of because, number one, it's freedom of choice. You don't want to watch Raw, you don't have to. If you don't want to watch SmackDown, you don't have to either. But if you want to just catch the PLEs, you can. Just go and spend the $30 instead of complaining. Because let's face it, folks, the majority of the public has subs to Netflix. The majority of the public has subs to Disney Plus, and they probably paid for the
I don't know about that
bundle package before.
I don't know about Disney after last week.
Oh, yes. Oh, they fired somebody they didn't care about before he got fired.
They brought him back anyways, so
they brought him back anyways. Because they probably, it's funny. It's funny they settled the Gina Carano lawsuit because that was supposed to go to trial this month. That would have been, this whole situation would have been new evidence into that case. Mind you, what she said on Instagram was far more dumb. And when people want to put the whole thing of Roseanne out there being like, well, it happened to Roseanne too. They got to bring Roseanne back. Roseanne said something that was completely stupid. Touchdown Seahawks. Jesus, they went down quick. Who knew Sam Donald was this good? Not the Jets.
Boo ran.
Every time the Jets hit on like a young quarterback, which they haven't done since Joe Namath, they draft the wrong guy and he sucks like Mark Sanchez, or they don't know how to develop a guy and then he goes elsewhere and then he kills him, which is Sam Donald. He proved that last year with Minnesota, and then this year now, what he has been able to do with the Seahawks has been remarkable. And the Jets are still the Jets. And again, I think Wrestlepalooza is definitely a better offering that WWE put out than what they're going to be watching on Monday Night Football come this Monday. ESPN, they did the right thing. they should have graded it a C, because I would have graded it a D. It was a D show. It was easily a D show. Was it the worst of the year? I mean,
it's hard to rank anything.
It's hard to rank
this year.
It's hard. It's very hard, because WrestleMania is supposed to be the thing. The thing about WrestleMania is that it's WrestleMania. It shouldn't be disappointing.
Exactly.
I shouldn't come out of WrestleMania disappointed. That's why it's the worst show of the year. Probably going to be the worst show of the year regardless. But also, we're coming out of SummerSlam, which was about 2 months ago, where we came out of it, we were just like, yeah, we were upbeat. We were happy. Everything that we wanted to happen happened, with the exception of Seth Rollins cashing in, but whatever. I mean, I hated it biasly as a Punk fan, but as a wrestling fan,
I still hate it because we'll talk about
what
it later.
What have they done?
It's not even that, but it's like this solved absolutely nothing in their feud.
No,
absolutely nothing.
Because he wasn't even involved in the finish.
Exactly, and I'm not trying to hate on that match or anything. I thought it was an okay match. Don't get me wrong, but you moved immediately, and it serves no purpose.
None whatsoever. Because it's the Champion of Champions match now, which is like, so this whole thing gets paused for the next couple of weeks. And then you wonder then there's the talk of what's going to be happening in November already. This could be on paper the biggest War Games ever because of the names that are being thrown around for it.
Yep.
On paper, this could set up to be sensational. And we'll get to that when it comes, because again, I don't want to speculate and then just have a massive letdown. Like it's Judgment Day against 4 fucking randos. Like that's the last thing I want.
I think what you're thinking is probably legitimate, because I do think that everybody and their mother is getting involved in that match at Night of Champions or Crown Jewel, whatever the heck it's called. Crown Jewel. I think everybody and their mother is going to get involved in that match.
For the Survivor Series, very well could be, it very well could be Avengers Endgame as far as the talent that is involved in that, and the World Championships and the accolades that are going to be involved in that, and the talent and the on paper right now. You could have, and this is the major players so far, but on one side it could be Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and John Cena up against Brock Lesnar and Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, and Bronson Reed. That is currently the going rumor. At least, and there'll probably be, give or take, another person thrown in there as well. I have no idea what's going on with the Usos.
Well, I'm thinking it could be LA Knight on Cody Rhodes' team and potentially Jey Uso on Seth Rollins' team.
Could Jey Uso end up with the Rollins team?
I almost feel like that might be a direction they might go with it.
I mean, which
feels weird, don't get me wrong, but it just seems like they keep hinting that he's going to turn. Whether that means he ends up with Seth Rollins for War Games, that's heavy speculation, obviously. But you got to involve LA Knight somewhere.
You do. And two...
And it's not between the two of them. Just saying.
And now, too, with Rollins, you don't know how long, because you don't know if they're going to do the program next year with... at least the rumor is that they're not going to do the program with Braun Breaker next year because they want to do Braun Breaker and Brock Lesnar next year for WrestleMania, which makes all the sense in the world. But you wonder if it's going to be for a championship or if it's just going to be, Braun gets his championship. Because, of course, everybody knows that this is the setup. It's going to be an Evolution storyline, which, again,
no shit, Sherlock.
hate... because of the fact that it's just Braun Breaker doesn't need to be in like a Batista storyline to get him more over to go up against somebody that, quite frankly, you can't build a brand around. It just like if Roman Reigns was in the spot that Seth Rollins was in, and some other rant, like if it was Seth Rollins, if it was Rhea Ripley and Roman Reigns against CM Punk and AJ Lee last Saturday night, I think the match would have been better. Number one, and two, I think the grade would have been higher and the fans would have been more involved because Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch are not compelling. And I hate to say that about Becky Lynch because I've always been a strong advocate and fan for her, especially early. And I've carried it for a while. I have. I felt like I was the only person in that whole kind of camp of pro Becky because there was a lot of people that were just like, oh, Becky Hogan and all this stuff. And now it's just to the point where, and I wouldn't say that the internet fans have ruined it, like they were the one that poisoned the well of my mind. I would just say it's my own observations and me just being like, yeah, this just ain't hitting. Like,
I don't want to watch a 2-minute backstage promo of Becky Lynch pacing back and forth saying stuff while Seth Rollins just kind of sits there. I did not need that. I don't want that. Like that did
I want that.
Absolutely nothing for me. I'm like, I don't know how this man is just sitting here right now. Like that was my initial thought. And plus, it's like, what do I care? Like, okay, feud with her if you want to. Like, lose your championship to her because that's probably what's going to end up happening. Or
it's dumb.
Yeah, that too.
It's just so dumb. It's just not necessary. It's you want. I believe the thought process is you want to be able to get Seth Rollins over, which you tried that in the babyface level, didn't work. Then you put him with Becky, and that really didn't work. That hurt her, but it really hurt, but not really because she was able to recover from it. Rollins, you had to turn him heel to be able to recover from that. Then you turn him heel, and then all of a sudden he catches fire after he watches the Joker. And he's just like, okay, this is what I got to do now. Comes out with a theme song, decides to dress great, just completely over the top, but he's finally figured out his character and what he's able to get himself over as. And then you put him with Paul Heyman, and you turn him heel. And which now completely makes him not compelling and not interesting.
I think that right now, for this, I'm just going to call it a segue, honestly. This little segue with Cody, it works. And it works for the exact same reason that Cody Rhodes even said the other day. You haven't beat me.
0-22. 0-22. And now you don't want Rollins to win. That's the thing. Like that's the thing that I'm getting that I want because I don't want him to win because it's just like. But you feel like they're going to set it up that way, and it's going to be, of course, because of outside interference.
I think Cody can still win, but I do think that there is going to be that outside interference regardless.
Which is going to lead to why Cody is going to be involved in War Games.
Yeah, but I think some of the people that are going to get involved are going to be the people like potentially Roman Reigns, like the CM Punk, maybe LA Knight. Those are the guys that are getting involved. And whether or not that includes Cody, It probably will, not for nothing. Because let's be real, we all know how Cody is. He's not going to miss a big show.
And John Cena being it's another thing that he can check off the old resume. So I firmly expect him to be in War Games. And especially too with Brock Lesnar and how the show started, which Brock Lesnar is the most terrifying human being I have ever laid eyes on in my entire life. And that's saying something. But he is an absolutely terrifying human being. And he is, and I wrote an article this week on Pro Wrestling World saying that Brock Lesnar is reality. If we look at Thanos, if we mention from Endgame, if we mention from Infinity War, Brock Lesnar in the industry, especially how he has handled John Cena, is inevitable. Every single time that Brock Lesnar has fought John Cena, Brock Lesnar has come out of it killing John Cena, but except one time. The only time that John Cena beat Brock Lesnar was at Extreme Rules 2012. And it was right after he came back. And I am 100% sure that that was in design, because it was like, all right, you're going to get paid all this money, but you got to do a favor first. And it really didn't have to, again, it was a street fight, so it made sense. But it felt, and then too, Brock was like, well, I'm still getting over Tiber Tick. Like, I'm not 100%. And which that played into it. That played into the storyline of why he lost that match. Paul Heyman would talk about that later on and saying that there was a certain point, I think in 2013, 2014, where he came out and he said that Brock Lesnar is now 100% physically fine. And that's what began the whole kind of 2014 Beast Incarnate platform, which ended The Undertaker's undefeated streak, and then went into SummerSlam 2014, where Brock Lesnar officially ended the full-time run. That pretty much was the end of the John Cena championship run, with the exception of a few, because he won the title, because at that point he was the 15-time champion. He won the title again in 2017, but he held it for 3 weeks. And then, of course, his 17th championship reign, which took place earlier this year. Brock came back at SummerSlam and has done a few TV appearances since. I firmly expected that the matchup was going to be more competitive. I firmly expected as well that John Cena was probably going to get his hand raised, but he was going to get busted up pretty badly. I did not expect what actually happened, which was Brock Lesnar mauling him like a tiger, and it wasn't even fucking close. As a Brock Lesnar fan, I loved it.
Destruction. As
a Brock Lesnar guy, I loved it. I was fucking Orson Welles in the scene from Citizen Kane. Just the clap of admiration looking down. Valissimo. This, in my opinion, told the story of the fairy tale met reality. Because let's face it, this whole thing has been a dream. It has been a fairy tale. No other performer in the history of the industry has ever gotten a retirement tour to the extent that John Cena has. And he's not going to have the Kobe's 60-point outing every single time. And Kobe had, like, everybody remembers that game, right? The last game of the regular season, 2016, against the Jazz, where he got 60 points. It was the one of the proudest moments in NBA history in a meaningless regular season game. But everybody remembered it. They don't remember his poor shooting numbers that year. They overlooked that. They overlooking of how many, like, his 3-point percentage was like was ridiculously low. He took too many shots, led this team that was going nowhere. Never made it to the playoffs that year. I think they barely won 25, 28 games. And he kind of just limped his way through. Cena had a championship run where he defeated the very top guy, thanks to Travis Scott, and held the title for 3, was able to get through these championship wins against CM Punk and Randy Orton, and then lost the title eventually to Cody Rhodes while turning babyface in the process. But he had to face a reality some point. And of course, that reality, standing across the ring from him, is the last ass kicker. It's so poignant. Paul Heyman said it because it is the last of a generation. A guy that is probably going to be the only person in my lifetime, or anybody's for that matter, that went on to have so much success in WWE only to quit on top. Pretty much to say, I don't want to do this anymore. And then 6 years later goes, well, actually, no, 4 years later, goes into UFC in his third fight with the promotion, defeats their golden boy, Randy Couture, by knockout. And for all those wrestling fans that poop on Brock Lesnar, that night legitimized professional wrestling because of the fact that our guy went into their territory and beat their top guy in their history and became world champion and carried that banner of pro wrestling behind him, and then came back and went on to have this decade and a half of absolute brilliance. And again, I love the match. I love the story that it told. And I know, and seeing the visual of crying kids and some adults.
I mean,
was,
listen, he also came out with a freaking daycare too, man.
He really did. He came out with an entire elementary school with him. I'm like, what the fuck is he doing?
It was just weird. And I had a feeling the match was going to go this way. I didn't think it was going to be an absolute squash like it was. But to have all the kids come out to watch it get squashed, it's a little funny.
I mean, the only thing that was lacking for me was Brock Lesnar not F5ing every single one of those children that came out. At least 3. Like that would have been a great prop bet. How many kids does Brock Lesnar F5?
I mean, I just would have put the over or under at 1.
1!
I didn't even get that.
2! Brock Lesnar F5 John Cena 6 times to win the match. Like,
I wasn't complaining about that.
It could have ended after the third one. Like, it could have been, it like literally could have been over after the third one. But he picked him up. And of course,
I can't help but be a little disappointed by it, though. Like, I'm glad Brock won, and I think that's the right move, absolutely. But it could have been more.
it could have been more. Yeah, I mean that's fair, and I agree on that point of view. It could have been more, but at the same time, I loved it because John Cena can't even run anymore. Like, he's too arthritic. He can't even run to the ring anymore. There's certain spots he can't do anymore. And then you got Brock Lesnar, even before the match starts, running the ropes at the speed of Brock and Braun Breaker.
Yeah, that thing was definitely moving.
And he's the same age as John Cena.
Yep.
The same age. And Brock Lesnar looks like he is still a Greek god that was just carved into granite. John Cena just went through a hair transplant this year. He's arthritic. Brock Lesnar looks like he's 25 years old. Not going to say why, but he does.
Oh, man.
I don't want the motherfucker coming to my house and throw me through a window. He will do it.
He will.
I say, like, he'll just show up. If you say anything negative about Sable in private chat, you say anything negative about Brock Lesnar in private chat, he does come to your house. He shows up and he just says, all right, we can do this the hard way or the easy way. So you better just go out and get F5'd on pavement instead of him coming into your house, throwing you through a fucking window 3 times, no less, and then F5ing you on pavement 3 times. So stay out of the private chat. Don't insult Brock Lesnar or Sable, for that matter. But yeah, I mean, I can understand how people thought that this was disappointing. And it was, to an extent, because yes, I kind of wanted to be a little bit more competitive, but at the same time, it's like after he got F5 for the 4th time in a row, it's like, you know what? All right. Like, you want to do a couple, like, it was kind of like, it was kind of like the Gladiator type aspect of it. The whole audience was just like, more, yeah. Then there's the one little kid from The Simpsons. Stop, he's already dead.
Yeah.
That was after the 3rd F5.
Yeah.
It was like, he's already dead. Oh, he's doing 3 more. All right.
I was just like, okay. Go for it. Like,
Then Brock,
I don't know.
ragdoll the referee after he gave the referee an F5 and then proceeded to F5 John Cena again and then just leave the ring. Like, there's John Wayne for you.
I don't know. I liked it for what it was. Don't get me wrong. I just wanted it to be more.
I can understand that again, but for me, it was pure fun. I loved it.
It was. Yeah.
Oh, it was so great. Like, it was just a great moment in time to watch that. You know, and this is also one of the highlights of the show because the rest of it's like,
No, there were a couple, but not many. Unfortunately, this next one was not one of them.
No, it wasn't.
The Vision, Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed with Paul Heyman against the Usos, Jimmy and Jay.
Yeet!
With, announced earlier in the show, special guest referee,
Yeah!
LA Knight. How do we progress LA Knight and Jey Uso? Oh, let's just make him the guest referee, I guess.
We'll make him the guest referee, and then Jey Uso is going to knock himself out, and then LA Knight's going to help him get through the match and be like, hey, come on, we got to get through this. Because Jay...
That's why you don't, when you hit somebody with a chair, it's why you don't follow the chair with your head. because shit like that can happen. It's happened to him. It's happened to others. Shit happens. It's okay.
You've been doing this
But
long
don't
enough that you shouldn't
follow
do
with
that.
your head. That's why when anybody who plays football, they tell you don't lean into a tackle with your head. That's why they tell running backs, hey, yeah, keep your head down, but don't put it forward. That's why. Because of concussions.
And Jay busted himself open and pretty sure gave himself a concussion.
Pretty sure
but
he did,
apparently
'cause he fell backwards a couple steps.
Oh, he did. He was staggered a little bit. And LA Knight, I saw in a video, was kind of helping him kind of get through it. Because
He absolutely
did.
was.
Yeah. And it was also immediately after that, it was like, oh, we're going to the finish.
Yeah, because they're probably
We need to go to the
oh,
finish.
shit.
Yes. And, of course, this incident happens to Jey Uso, who has had, so to speak, a very cursed year. And this is just another cog of all that. I mean, it was clearly his fault, though. It's like,
Dude, he followed
you don't
his
do
head.
that!
You don't do that, exactly.
no! And it's like, I expected this from Jimmy, but not you. But this year, it's like, everything
this year,
that
Jimmy's been better.
Well, yeah, because we know he had sex with Naomi. I mean,
I mean, there's yeah.
it's
That does go up a few
so
points.
it's like, all right, you did have it. All right, that at least gives you a B year. Like, he's not even booked at WrestleMania. Yeah, but Naomi. All right,
Yeah, exactly.
it's like,
Because I'm not booked.
dude, like, all right, like he's had a better year and a better year right now than his brother. And Jay has had the rocket up his ass, especially with that's pass interference, in my opinion. But okay, it's not apparently. That just looked like pass interference. Anyways,
Smoke.
so I can do two things at once.
A vast amount of marijuana.
But Jay has just had a cursed year. Like this year, if everything, if we're measuring of like what could go wrong this year, and you're looking at Jey Uso's career, it's like, oh Jesus, oh my God,
Shit, I thought we were talking about my personal life for a second.
oh Jesus, no comment, come on.
Oh, shit.
Anyways, yeah, this match sucked. I just
No, it wasn't. It's just we've seen it 300 times. We're going to see it again on Monday.
yeah, I don't need this again. I don't.
It's a tornado match. Oh,
Yeah, for what? Like, so Ellie and I can get involved now because of this, and then Monday Night Raw where him and Jey Uso have a match that they get involved in. Like, I don't care. I'm just sick of it. It just feels like they're dragging their feet with this whole thing. If you want Braun and Braun to be over, have them go after the tag titles at this point, which arguably they should be doing anyways. Not for nothing. This right now, this is like segue bullshit, and you've been doing it for over a month now.
I just want to see Braun and Bronson Reed have kind of like a character development instead of just being these two fucking brutes. I've coined the phrase of the new J&J security, but that's what I feel like they've been. And especially now, because I feel like they're just window dressing for Seth and Becky. Ugh.
I mean,
Sounds like a morning radio show duo.
the
Seth and Becky show.
Oh my God, stop.
91.5.
I'm gonna go vomit now. Anyways, I just think that but also I think they've done enough to develop them. They don't really need to. the problem is right now you can't develop them when there are no stakes to their matches. That's the problem, and that's why I think they should go after the tag titles.
They absolutely should. They should go after the tag team titles and at least have some fucking character development instead of just being just like, I'm just gonna beat the shit.
I'm big and I steal shoes, and I am big and I bark.
Yeah, I sound like my
That's-
uncle, like insulting people.
Yeah, I mean he really does at some points, but
Mr. Breaker,
yeah,
that's a woman.
I am glad I watched the post show for that. I need to say that now. I just didn't turn it off. I just kept it on. I was kind of like doing shit on my phone for a little bit.
Mr. Breaker.
And then I would engage a little bit with that stuff, like when they'd have the talent come out like that. Some of the other stuff they do, like the backstage and stuff, I'm like, yeah, whatever, I don't care. So I was watching that, and I hear the Breaker insult this person. I'm like, all right, that's kind of funny. And then Paul says what he says, Mr. Breaker, you can't say that. That's a woman. Ma'am, as a full-figured woman myself, I apologize. I just burst out laughing. I laughed so hard.
It's just like, because the thing about Paul is he just like, I gotta smooth this over. He's just gonna get fucking killed on social media.
I just love Joe Test's reaction next to him too, just covering his face and shaking his head.
Yeah, because it's like, what can you do at this point?
There's nothing. That's the thing.
You can't do anything. It's like, all right, like, did you miss it? Like, no, we're just not gonna go there. We're just gonna somehow, I'm gonna turn this around because I'm a genius, and that's what Paul is, a genius. God. I wish he'd have more of a say in creative, because I'm looking at it. It's like, even though some of this stuff might be some of his career, this vision thing will get over. No, it won't. It's not going to. No.
Yeah, except it won't. Yeah, Vision defeat the Usos in
Shocking.
17 minutes and 12 seconds. So yeah. The next match, though, absolute banger match.
Match of the night, without question.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Stephanie McCare defeats Io Sky to become the women's world champion.
Which was the absolute right fucking call.
Yeah, because not for nothing, I think she's going to put on better matches with either Jade or Nia or Tiff.
And Rhea, when that eventually happens.
True. I'm just thinking current right now, because obviously she's going to face whoever the women's champion is from SmackDown. So
yes, which that match also is going to be excellent. But Christ, she hit the spinal tap. You're just like,
she hit
that was flawless,
perfectly too.
That was flawless, and also proves that you can have wrestling ability and also be like a fucking supermodel. This woman is a absolute megastar, and you can argue the booking throughout the summer, which we did. She was underutilized to no end throughout the summer months. It's like, okay, you called her up.
Idea what to do with her. I think
they didn't,
and I think that's not on her. I think it's because of Naomi's situation. I'm not bashing Naomi, obviously, for getting pregnant, despite what her father-in-law might say. I think it's unfortunate, and she got sucked into that because of their plans for her. I don't know if Naomi, wasn't pregnant, if they still have the match at Clash, and who goes over and who doesn't. I don't know that. I don't know if maybe this was the plan the entire time to have her become the champion, whether it be from Naomi or from Io. I do think this match would have occurred regardless for the Io Sky, because it's just natural to put the two of them together. They've already fought once. They had a great match, and this was no different. This was better than their first match on Raw. I think it's very unfortunate that she was not booked throughout the summer, kind of like we're saying, but I also think that seems to be changing, thankfully. The only other thing I would really add to that, I'm not booked. The only other thing I would really add to that, though, however, is I loved the Raw segment with her. You could tell she loves the business, which is awesome. I just know that there are going to be some of those talking heads where they're going to shit on her English. She's learning. Let it go. Is it really the most important thing of her talent that she speaks proper English and correct English? Like, come on. Half of you can't even spell anyways, myself included, so, I mean, who cares?
We're in a world of diversity. I know that that word has become kind of a mute point to some people, and also it's like, it's dead, but the fact is that you have Rhea Ripley from Australia, you have Asuka, Io Sky, and Kairi Sane from Japan. You have Lola Vice from Mexico. You have Stephanie Vergara from Chile. They are all coming to want to work for the number one wrestling promotion in the world, and that is WWE. And the fact is that I look at Stephanie Vergara, I look at Rhea Ripley, I look at Bianca Belair, I look at these three, I look at others on the roster, Alexa Bliss, Tiffany Stratton. I look at these girls and I see girls that are going to get little girls to dress up as them, and they're going to look at them like a look at a Disney princess and say, I want to be them when I want to grow up. It has already happened. You have girls cosplaying as these girls, meeting them with pictures. And you had to put the title on her to make her a legitimate, what a fucking run by Donald. You had to make her champion at some point. To every critic, including myself, including Mac, that said that you did nothing with her all summer. Now you silenced us because you did the right thing in putting the strap on her. But the problem is that now you have to make this championship reign matter, and you have to make her matter. She'll do her part. Now the company has to do right by her.
Yeah. I mean, I think everything both you and I just said is just 100% on point. I don't dislike this move, obviously. I think it's the right one. I think it's going to be good for business because whoever she faces at Crown Jewel in a couple weeks is going to be a good match. Any of those three women she's going to put on a great match with.
Oh, it's going to be fantastic.
And I do think that there could be a logical choice between her and Asuka, maybe. Her and Rhea, I think, is an obvious one that a lot of people are going to want. Roxanne, I think, and her could put on a great match, too. I think, honestly, with the amount of talent that roster has between all the shows, Stephanie Vergara is going to put on a good match with all of them.
Without question.
Except maybe Nikki Bella, but that that's neither here nor there.
We always got to take our cheap shots at her.
I mean, yeah, after that kick against Becky Lynch, I don't have a choice anymore. Yeah, this was
It's
a
so
great match.
funny. It's so funny because I talk shit about her. I talk shit about Goldberg, and then of course they just added them to WWE 2K25, and you had to pay some virtual currency of like 50,000 K, and you would unlock Goldberg and Nikki Bella. So of course my dumbass. Luckily, I didn't have to pay any money because I had enough VC stored up. So it really didn't cost me anything. It was like, all right. So I just got them pretty much, and because I didn't unlock anything else. Like, that's the thing about me. I rarely spend on anything. Like, it's just, oh, you can buy this. It's like, but it's not, and I just don't even bother. Like, the points just sit there and accumulate until finally, oh, they're shutting the servers down. Well, I better get something out of this.
Yeah, pretty much. But that brings us to, speaking of Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins in a mixed tag match against CM Punk and, after 10 years, AJ Lee.
I mean, what can you say other than it was good to see her back? There were a couple of moments, especially that ton punch in the corner. I was just like, like there were moments of that match. I was just like, as the match went on, she did get more comfortable. It was a 10-year layoff. So I knew things was not going to be exactly perfect.
I think as the match progressed, I think you're 100% spot on. She got a lot more comfortable and it showed. It 100% showed. Early on, yeah, not so much. Early on, you could definitely tell there was some clunkiness there. Maybe not as confident, but as it kept going, you could tell. And I'm happy for her because I think that after looking at other return matches from other stars that have been off for a very long time, not her husband, but others that have just maybe, recently come back that we literally just talked about, they don't look good.
No.
They don't look good.
But she looked good. Took her a little time to kind of get going, but when she did, I thought I was really kind of impressed. I thought it was a much better matchup than, a much better match than what Kurt Angle, Ronda Rousey, and Triple H and Stephanie had back at WrestleMania. I believe 34. Yeah, but it was still okay. It wasn't like it. Everybody talked about it was like the greatest mixed match of all time, and I was just like, eh. I mean, was it good? Yeah, but I felt like this was just a lot better, especially too when you're dealing with. Because I got to say, Becky's a pretty good worker as well.
Oh, they're all four of them are great workers. Honestly.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, AJ was well protected with the people that she was in there with. The match was definitely the second best match of the night. I thought Io Sky and Procure was so much better, but
yeah,
I still say
top that anyways.
It was very hard. But this I felt like was a very, very good match, a really good one. I think everybody would have gone home happy if it was the main event. But, you got to have the WWE Championship, the Undisputed Championship, kind of being as your focal point. And that being the main event also, you can't really argue there. But you could have had this main event the show. And you know what? If you had it main event the show, I bet you people probably would have left a lot better. Not saying the main event was terrible, but I feel like that more people would have enjoyed this as a main event than what we got.
Well, they gave almost half an hour, so I mean, yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that.
Right.
I mean, I'm not gonna shit talk the main event either, but it's like this CM Punk and AJ, Seth and Becky, they all told a story, and it was a good one.
It was exactly what, I feel like it was one of the main reasons that people were there. Brock and Cena, of course, and there's probably a minority that will say they were there for the main event, because I don't think, mind you, it's a great match between two great talents, but I don't think it had kind of the marquee value that this did, and also Brock and Cena. Of course, Brock and Cena's on the poster, so
because they had like no build.
that's true.
We talked about this, and they even talked about it themselves. It's like really not a build. And you had what, one instance a month ago, one instance 2 weeks ago, and then all of a sudden, hey, we're going to talk about all of our past history at the contract signing, and that's going to be your build. It sucks. And this is, I remember saying this last year, that I felt like Cody had to carry a lot of feuds. And, especially going into WrestleMania, both years where he was facing Roman, because Roman's a part-timer. He got lucky last year by adding The Rock and Seth and all that whole thing, because it kept it interesting at least. But in terms of him and Roman, he was carrying all of that.
Right.
Now, you could actually carry a feud here, but now he's the part-timer because he's a part-time champion, because he's not going to be on TV every week with frickin' Street Fighter filming. So it's like, what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. It's weird how it's come to this. It's weird how he's supposed to be, I'm the workhorse champion and all this stuff. You're doing movies. You're not on TV every week.
All the power to him. I'm not going to say shit about
I'm not criticizing him for it.
No, I know you're not. I'm just saying, like, me personally, like, I'm not going to criticize him either. But part of the problem is you actually could have built this up as a legitimate feud. Instead, it's an afterthought. And then you put it after, arguably, as you kind of mentioned, whether it be Brock and Cena or Punk and AJ versus Seth and Becky. And, of course, being after Stephanie and Io as well isn't doing you any favors either. Plus, you had no build. So why am I interested? I'm not going to say it's a bad match, but compared to the rest of the matches, I'm not as interested in this.
You think Roman Reigns has sent Brock Lesnar an apology yet for all the comments about part-time champion and things like that? If I was Brock, I'd want an apology from everybody that ever said anything negative. I'd be like, y'all do it now, though. Like, I did it and everybody gave me shit for it.
I just think that when it comes down to it, Drew wasn't going to win this match.
No, he wasn't.
They definitely want to do Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes another time with huge stakes.
They do. And there's better story with this. It's if it was Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre for what is this, Crown Jewel
champion.
Yeah, it's Crown Jewel champion. If it was Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre, people would be complaining because it's like, oh, we've seen this before. Yes, that's true, but we've also seen Cody and Rollins before. However, it's different stakes. Plus, now there's all that backstory last year. There's the backstory that Seth never beat Cody. Now it's more interesting because a year and a half ago, these two were thick as thieves. They were also on the same War Games team. Of course, that was the same night that CM Punk returned to WWE back in 2023.
Yep.
That was the famous Seth Rollins having a tissy fit, that he was back. But Cody's music was playing. They were victorious that night. And then all of a sudden we heard, na, 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 and then we were off and running.
Yeah!
So, yes, this is more of the sexy main event for Crown Jewel. And which is why that makes sense going into this. Because now that's a good story. It also is giving them something that is other than them having to defend the title against another random challenger. Insert challenger here.
Yeah.
Just another guy in there. Now it's the champion versus the champion. And it's also your way of doing this to kind of say, well, who's the best of the year? Like, who's the best champion of the year? And is it going to be Cody again? Is Seth finally going to? So now it's a built-in perfect storyline. I feel bad in the sense for Drew McIntyre, because I'm a Drew McIntyre fan. So is Mac. So as a Drew McIntyre fan, yeah, it's annoying. Drew McIntyre has lost 16 of 17 championship matches. Which is a terrible statistic to think about, but considering the fact of the talent that he is, the champion that he should be, the fact that he hasn't been able to get like a decent world heavyweight title reign, but you give it to Seth freaking Rollins, who, again, not compelling. But Drew McIntyre is sitting on the outside, just like he is out of the top 20, it looked like, for the PWI 500. Joe Hendry is rated higher than Drew McIntyre in the PWI 500. That's right. Me and Mac were talking about this before the program, and we were just both like, no, that's not true. But it is true.
I'm going to be 100% honest. I'll just say what I said to you. Once you had looked and shared the picture that Joe Hendry was, I think, number 15, I was like, yeah, I'm not reading that. I'm not reading that. And I asked you earlier in pre-show who was certain numbers and where Drew was and stuff like that. Because I'm not reading that. I'm not a Joe Hendry hater either, which is funny, but I even know that Joe Hendry is not the top 15.
I mean, John Moxley should have been second either. He was number 2 behind Cody.
I didn't disagree with that either. I don't think so. Maybe the top 10 for the year. I could maybe put him in that spot, maybe, but not number 2.
Gunther should have been either second or third, and Hangman Page should have been second or third. Hangman is at 4th, and we were kind of going back and forth on that. Maybe, and you're just like, Hangman. It's like Hangman did win a very big matchup at All In Texas, and of course the brilliant matches that he had with Swerve Strickland over the last year. Look, I know for a lot of people, Hangman Page isn't everybody's cup of tea. I know there's for a fact that there's a lot of kind of pushback from even my own friends that are just like, what's with the kick so far? It's like, when you have a good character that I can relate with, because I look at what he has done the last year and I say, he is compelling. He is a compelling character. You know who's not compelling? Seth Rollins. But,
I don't even want talking about him real quick with this, the whole Cody situation, especially since we were just talking about that anyways. I really hated his whiny segment with Cody on Monday. You saying I'm not good enough? You saying I can't be the quote? Like, shut up. Why are you whining about this?
it's funny because I was just wanting to see a Punk to come out and just be like, well, you're not good enough because you suck. But that's besides the point.
I half expected Roman to come out, to be honest.
That would have been nice too.
I feel like they might save that obviously for, Crown Jewel if they do it at all, but
It has
Yeah,
to
it would've been
drive
nice.
Rollins crazy because it's like, as far as legacy is concerned, it's in WWE. Of course, he's going to be like the second best member of the Shield.
oh, that's
And-
not saying much.
Outside of wrestling, like, of course, outside of WWE, because you can make the argument. Again, maybe Moxley's not my cup of tea with some of his match work, but the impact he's had in AEW has been, I mean, he's been there, the franchise guy, really the last 6 years. So even though I do think he should the Death Rider angle should just end instead it just keeps going and going. And it's just like, just end it. It should have ended when you lost the title. But that's besides the point. But Rollins, yes, his legacy is concerned. He's one of the better performers in the history of the industry, especially what he has done the last decade, decade and a half, especially with everything that he did in the Shield. But at the same time, I just don't care. Like anything he's doing now, I'm just like, so. It's just like you're just looking at it, you're like, all right, cool, I guess.
He just rubs me the wrong way, and he always has. Like, you hear some of the stories about the guy, and it's just like,
I want to like him. It's just, I want to like him because I think he's a good talent. I think he's great in the ring, but then it's just like, I don't know. It's just something about him. I'm just like, you're right. It's just, it's like where Roman, I look at him and I'm just like, he's always come across as a really decent human being. It's kind of like the angle that but also too, like, he comes across as like this complete and utter just badass and he's your anti-hero because really he should be a massive heel that everybody's just like 30 years ago he would have been like one of the biggest heels in ever because of his whole aura. But now it's because the timeline's all fucked up and he just works with his aura. And he's not really like a full-fledged babyface. He's just a heel that everybody turned him babyface anyways because now he's beloved.
Hey, I'm just gonna say it this way to kind of bottom line it. Had they done the Tribal Chief earlier in his career, he would have been so fucking over.
Oh, I know.
Like, way more than, like, the Big Dog and all the other shit that he was doing. Like, if they figured that out a couple years prior, he would have been huge.
They also wouldn't have had the creative kind of stagnation that they did between like 2017 and 2019 till they would have been okay with that situation. But no, they kept it the way it did. They kept it safe because they had creative issues for like things weren't perfect and really didn't kind of get overhauled until 2022. And now it's like I look at what they've done this year and I'm like, what the hell's going on? Like, because it's I don't know if it's the company still or it's just because I keep trying to think. It's like Triple H can't think like Vince most of the time and just do Vince booking. Because a lot of this stuff just feels like Vince is still in charge. Like, I don't know.
I don't want to say that, but I don't know either. Like, Raw felt really pedestrian this week. Really dialed in.
I think that's most weeks.
But this week, really, it did. Like,
Mind you, it's not like Dynamite's been lighting the world on fire either for AEW. So it's not like there's just some weeks that
but
it's just
it's 2 days after a show, though, dude.
I know.
That's the biggest issue for me, right? Like this week coming up, this Raw, I would expect that to be pedestrian 2 weeks outside of a PLE. But this is your first Raw after an ESPN show that has never been done. And it just felt like incredibly dialed in. We had more segments, I felt like, in the back than we did in the front. And
I agree.
I will say that I love the El Grande Americano thing because that was hilarious. But everything else, it's like I don't need to see Becky pace around and mutter to Seth. I don't need to hear Seth whine. I thought the Cody portion of the segment was funny. Obviously, if you're going to sit there and tell Seth, well, you've never beat me, I will enjoy that because Seth Rollins right now kind of sucks. The Jey Uso and LA Knight thing, just stupid, but I saw it coming. And Rhea and Asuka, again, kind of saw that coming too, like not for nothing. It's just, I didn't even need to watch it, I felt like. I think I was like more paying attention to whatever I was doing on my phone than I was actually watching Raw this week.
It did create the AI Smurf Rhea Ripley characters.
Oh, you mean the Avatar alien?
Well, then the Smurf AI started to kick in.
That's awesome.
Where it was just her being like a Smurf character, which, I mean, if she was a Smurf character, I think everybody would start watching it, but whatever.
I mean, probably. I'm sure. You know what? Let's move on because that's just a weird conversation that's going to come up with. I just felt dialed in. I don't know. I hope they can right the ship because they do have a good product and they have a great roster of talent, but sometimes they just book them really stupidly.
I'm not booked.
And is Raw at like 7 p.m. from now on? By the way, I meant to bring that up too.
What is with these hours lately? It's like,
Apparently
what are you guys doing?
Apparently it's 7 this coming week too. They only found that out because it happened to actually be on Netflix earlier, and I saw it, and I was like, "Oh, okay, now I know." But yeah,
I mean, they're not at the network's mercy anymore. You know, it's like, I don't know.
It's just weird. I guess I don't know. Maybe Hunter wants to fly home or something, man. I don't know. It's just I didn't know because they didn't say anything. Either that or I mentally checked it out. But it's like, hey, we're now on at 7 for the next several weeks.
He's not at TV every week too, now. Like, because he was at Kill Tony a few weeks ago. He missed Raw to be at Kill Tony.
I mean, good for him, not for nothing.
Yeah, I know, but like, if Shane Gillis wasn't there as Donald Trump, I wouldn't go.
Oh man, I love it. So, should we even talk about All Out?
Well, I think we should. I guess I can kind of describe it as best as I'll go through the bullet points, and the matches really kind of annoyed me because, folks, to be honest with you, I did catch most of the matches, so I can kind of tell you what I thought.
Well, let's do it this way. Let's do clusters.
Yeah, we'll do clusters.
We can do that. So let's just do the pre-show first. Let's get that out of the way. So the first match.
I did not see much of this. I'll be honest.
That I'm not surprised about,
if at all.
Yeah, I was gonna say if at all, and neither did I. So don't worry about it. The Ops, Samoa Joe and Powerhouse Hobbs defeat the Workhorsemen. Every time I see that, I think of BoJack Horseman. Anthony Henry, and JD Drake via submission in 5 minutes and 20 seconds.
Okay.
Daniel Garcia with Marina Shafir, defeats Shibata by pinfall in 14 minutes and 50 seconds.
Okay. I'm still trying to get Daniel Garcia over. All right.
Yeah, I would not have included Marina Shafir.
You mean
to do
Kyle
that.
Fletcher? No. Daniel Garcia. Oh, they look the same.
No, the other one. Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Thanks.
Third match in the pre-show is Hologram and Paragon, which is Kyle O'Reilly, Roderick Strong, defeating Frat House, Cole Carter, Griff Garrison, Mr. Garrison, Preston Vance with Jacked Jameson via pinfall in a trios match in 3 minutes and 20 seconds.
Nice to see JD Vance's brother getting work.
Yeah, no comment. 3 minutes and 20 seconds for a trios match seems like a very short amount of time.
3 minutes and 20 seconds for a trios match?
Yeah. Shortest
Why
match.
even fucking book it?
Sure, yeah. That's kind of what I'm trying to say. The next match was the main event of the pre-show, the 8-women Tornado Tailgate Brawl. Harley Cameron, Mina Shirakawa, Queen Aminata, and Willow Nightingale defeat Megan Bain, Penelope Ford, and the Triangle of Madness, which is Julia Hart and Sky Blue.
Whenever I hear tornado now, I just think of me whipping my cat's tail around going tornado tail. So it's not...
I feel like Ron Burgundy in the opening of Anchorman, the Human Torch was down at a bank loan. Like, trying to say that, Tornado Tailgate Brawl. Like,
Tornado
dude.
Tailgate Brawl.
Jeez, man.
It just tornado, it is tough to like Tornado Tailgate Brawl. Tornado Tailgate Brawl.
I mean, listen, man.
What the fuck? It's a
Four
TTV match.
No comment. Again, like, this is too much. Like, I keep... This is my constant criticism of this company is they book way too many matches for the pay-per-views at this point. And this was another one where it's overbooked. You have way too much going on here.
Not booked.
Not booked.
Because I'm not booked.
Thank you.
Exactly.
As we move into the actual show itself, we'll kind of do these, I think, clusters of 3, because, let's see. Yeah, that makes sense, sure.
Yeah, we'll do plus.
3's a good numbers. Sure, why not? So this first match, which ironically, I had a feeling was going to be the first match, and it was, Adam Copeland and Christian Cage against FTR, Cash, and Dax Harwood. Eddie Kingston defeats Big Bill with Brian Keith, apparently, with him. And the tables and tax match, Mark Briscoe defeats MJF via pinfall.
So, let's start with the first match. Edge kicking out of a spike pile driver and then 2 big rigs / shatter machines. And a guy with neck problems and also in his 50s taking a spike pile driver and 2 of the tag finishers of one of the best tag teams in the industry. What the fuck? If John Cena did that, people would flip out. Like, that's the thing about AEW is the fact that they let a lot of this stuff go. The fan base.
But the problem is they all do it. That's the problem.
They all do it, but they let it go. But if WWE talent did it, oh my God, you would think the world is ending. They get annoyed by it. Do you know how mad stuff would have been, though, if God. Are you fucking kidding me? Because Steph hates 2 counts. She hates them. So the whole AEW concept, she'd just be like, she might have to enjoy some AEW content that's been making the rounds recently. More on that later. With that could be happening soon, where There's a certain son of a preacher that got himself in trouble and is affiliated with and was wearing some garb and pictured with some certain people that we might have to kind of turn into a comedy segment at some point. Kind of like a critique, because this person is involved in true crime. And there's no one better I could think of to bring in to talk about true crime than Stephanie. And also the fact that this person is an AEW fan. To boot.
Oh my God.
It's going to be, so stay tuned for that, folks. It might be part of next week's episode. Because we're going to need something to kind of cleanse the palate of, God, people are going to hate it. They're going to, no, they're not going to hate it because nobody wants to be associated with this fan. But, yeah. But, so to speak.
Thank you for the reminder, because I completely forgot what we talked about last week until you just said that about the let's not get worrying.
Let's not get worrying. We talk about basement dwellers. This this thing that's it's going to be fun. I had to bring. We're going to bring on our crime expert to discuss that video. So stay tuned for next week.
It really was a crime, though.
It really was. Like, it really was. It's just the affiliation of it. Like, when I saw pictures of him, and then I saw the affiliation of the jacket that he was wearing, and also the people that he was pictured with, I just sat there and I just said, if you could write a character in a movie about their fandom, it would exactly be this guy, like to a T. And it's every person I could think of that is a fan of AEW. So stay tuned for that next week. But let's get back to the matches. So not only does Edge kick out of all that, Beth Copeland shows up. It is now a part of AEW, it looks like. So into the fact of that after Cope and Christian defeated FTR, they are attacked at the end of it by Nick Wayne and his family that he has now inherited from Christian. And they get attacked. Edge gets handcuffed to the ropes. And then Christian gets spike pile driven. So does Beth. So they run an injury angle at the start of a show for the third straight pay-per-view.
It stinks.
Second, you have Eddie Kingston with the worst finish I have ever seen for AEW ever, with the missing spinning back fist, and they immediately went to the finish, and he beats Big Bill in his big pay-per-view return. And again, Eddie Kingston, I want to like Eddie Kingston. I do. I think he's a great promo.
Well, that's one of us.
I think he's a great promo.
I don't disagree, but I think he sucks in the ring.
That's the problem. That's the massive problem I have. Because this finish was terrible. It was bad. It missed by a mile. And they just went home. And he's not in the best of shape coming into this. There were people that come back from an injury and they are just in the best condition that they've ever been in their careers. Think of like Triple H after the quad tear in 2002. He came back and he looked like a Greek god. And you think of other talent, like, you think of Taker after some of his sabbaticals. He comes back and he's in great shape. There are plenty of talents I've seen come back and just be in the best shape of their careers after an injury.
I'm glad you
And
brought this up. Actually, I want to segue.
Eddie
for a quick
Kingston's one of them.
second. I want to segue here for a quick second because I want to ask you a question. It's directly related to actually being in shape or not being in shape. When you watch Cody and Drew, did it look like Cody put on like a couple pounds to you?
I don't notice that.
Really? Okay.
I don't notice.
Looked like he did a little bit, and like I'm not judging. I'm just curious if it was just me seeing that.
He is his father's son.
That is true.
Like Dustin kind of has the same deal, where Dustin, except now Dustin is like lean, but there was a time in his career, maybe even around the same age, where he had a little punch on him.
He was a little chunky, yeah.
And that also too was due to some reasons.
Oh yeah.
Fucking reasons. But at the same time, he's good now. And like he's probably putting on some of the best work of his career. I don't know if Cody is, I'm sure he knows about it. But again, and it also something that didn't really come up online, which is surprising. Because usually
maybe
that
it was
comes
just
up.
Me. I just it
Might have
seemed
been.
like he did. I
didn't notice.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe it was just me then. Like I said, I don't know. I just it looked like he did a little bit. I wasn't 100% sure, and like I don't really care. You know, like dudes filming a movie and traveling back and forth to WWE shows.
Just had another kid.
Just had another kid, exactly. So I would completely understand.
Probably not getting into the gym as much. So yeah, it's a little tough. I think, but I did notice with Eddie Kingston.
I feel like he's always been a little bit bigger.
But the problem with Eddie Kingston, but it's like he just came back from an injury.
I understand.
And I just talked about how you come back from an injury and historically talent come back and they're the best shape of their career. And it's like, I look at him and I'm just like, did you do anything? Did you do anything to rehab just a little bit? You know, maybe to just come back with a little shape. I mean, it's right. I'm one to talk, right? So to speak, I guess, of course, but I'm not in the wrestling industry at that level. And I'm also not a worker. So it's not something
You're also like, dude's on fucking TV on a pay-per-view. Yeah. Like me personally, I'd be super self-conscious about that. Probably why I don't show my fucking face on camera, but, you know, semantics aside, that's, you know, I like private life too, obviously. That's part of it too. But people get self-conscious about shit like that. You are a whore. You are a total whore. Anyways, and then Mark Briscoe defeating MJF. Okay. That
didn't make any sense. That didn't make any sense.
I agree.
The whole feud didn't make any sense. The fact that Mark Briscoe is winning the feud, and I know it's because MJF is a heel, but at the same time, MJF he was just the main event of the show last month against your world champion. He took the L. Now he's taking the L to Mark Briscoe, and why?
That's what I don't get. It doesn't make any sense to me.
The fall of MJF needs to be studied. Let's go into our next. And two, it's just some of the spots he's taking. I'm just like, you're doing movies, you fucking idiot.
Yeah, if I'm MJF, I'm protecting myself in this match. I don't do this match, but
John Cena's not doing that shit.
Yep, exactly.
You don't see him blading. You know why? Because he fucking knows better.
Oh, I don't think he really needs blood in his matches either at this point. I don't know why Mark Briscoe continues to need it, and I don't know why AEW holistically still needs it, because a lot of these matches, it's like,
this was a terrible idea for MJF because he was taking you're taking a lot of risks being involved in matches like this, and you got a lot going on. Like I said, I came onto this program and I said he was one of the better parts of Happy Gilmore too.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I thought he came out of that looking fantastic, and it's like you signed with AEW still. I understand they're probably paying you a boatload of cash. You deserve it, kid. But this was a bad re-signing because they have pretty much wasted. Yeah, for him it's been bad because you have just. This is a wasted feud. This is a wasted couple of months for him. Even with the whole Bobby, even with the Hurt Business thing, that stuck around for like a month. And he's just been hopping around and doing different shit. Like, I'm feuding with the Hurt Business. I'm feuding with Mark Briscoe again. And now I'm feuding. Whatever.
Yeah,
Whatever.
It doesn't make a lot of sense. Yes, they gave him 20 minutes at least. I'll give him that.
Yes.
It's just, I don't know. The next match was a trios match, The Demand, which is Ricochet, Bishop Khan, I think is how you say that, and Toa Leona, defeating, which makes no sense to me, the Hurt Syndicate, Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, and MVP.
I mean, MVP took the fall, which
makes sense, obviously.
Which did make sense. I was just like, I think that's why they're doing a 6-man. Because somebody mentioned that to me. It's like, why is MVP in this match? I said, because he's going to take the L. And of course he did. It's
stupid?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially Ricochet winning. I'm just like,
Well, that's kind of why I didn't want the Hurt Syndicate to lose, because, yeah. We did say 3, I apologize. Mercedes Moné defeating Riho, and Okada defeating Takashita and Mascara Dorada.
Oh, the Okada match was fantastic. Riho and Mercedes was kind of run of the mill. It's like just another Mercedes match. It's just, I'm just going to win and win and win and win. Okay.
I don't hate her winning in context of what happens later in the evening, but you could have built Rio up too.
You could have. Of course, it was still kind of, Rio didn't really kind of earn the spot anyways, only because of the fact it's like,
yeah.
Mind you, who else is she going to beat? And I guess you're just kind of running at, we'll just put her up against Rio. Okay. I mean, so.
Right, but my point is then you get the belt off for a little bit.
Yeah, you do. You do. And also, too, with what happened later on, it would have made sense for Riho to beat Mercedes, and Mercedes could move on to bigger and better things. But what do I know?
Yeah. I did not watch the Okada match, though. You said it was good?
It was good. It was really good. They really kind of gave Takashita a lot of offense in this to make him look fantastic. There were a lot of cool spots in it. There was like a triple German suplex, which was good, which it wasn't as fun as the triple suplex German that Bobby Lashley did in the trios match. That looked just fun as hell, but also hurt as like hell, where, it also just looked prettier because Lashley was doing against really 2 small guys. It was like, yeah, all right, this works. Where Okada did it, and it just looked devastating. And, but the match was really good. Again, Okada proving again why he is one of the best wrestlers on the planet, why he was ranked 11th in the top 500 which you could have made an argument that he could have been in the top 10. He's at least higher than Seth Rollins, in my opinion, but whatever. But Okada retains, and that was the best kind of match of the three so far. Like, as far as match of the night is concerned, as far as, because, yeah, you can argue, okay, the MJF and Mark Briscoe match was fun. Yeah, it was fun. So was the first, the match between FTR, Copeland, and Christian. That was another fun one. But I felt like the Okada triple threat match was just fantastic. As far as the first six are concerned. So.
I still got to hold back 9.
Back
right.
20.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, might as well just talk about the next ones. So, Jon Moxley defeating Darby Allin in a coffin match.
Christ almighty, this match.
Yep. The next one is Timeless Tony Storm losing in a fatal 4-way for the AEW Women's Championship to Chris Statlander, with Jamie Hayter and Thekla also involved in the match. And then the 4-way ladder match for the AEW Tag Team Championships. Brody King and Bandito defeating the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jansen. Jet Speed, which is Kevin Knight and Speedball Mike Bailey, and the Don Callis' family, Hichiro and Josh Alexander.
The Moxley and Darby Allin match was insane. It featured the return of Pac, and it was insane because we were talking about this earlier, and it's like, all right, what else are they going to do to each other, so to speak? Because I feel like they have gotten to the point where either they have to be shot with bullets or shot out of cannons to kind of take their bodies to the limits, because these matches between these two have just been completely insane, including this one. Some of the moves and also bumps that both guys took were, especially with the coffin. They had a weird coffin. It wasn't like your because WWE had their kind of the custom built one. It was bigger. It was deeper at some points.
Too, I think.
It had a trap door. This one was just a straight up casket. It may have been a demo one or something like that, cheaper on the sets, but it was a straight up coffin. It was kind of the casket that if you played SmackDown 2 Know Your Role for the PlayStation 1, it was exactly that type of coffin, except you didn't have to keep kicking the guy for the coffin lid to just randomly appear and put the guy in it. This, again, it was extremely violent. The plastic bag over Moxley's head by Darby Allin, which is a controversial spot, but it was funny hearing Daniel Bryan Daniel McDanielson, on commentary.
Oh, that's
the fact of
Daniel McDanielson.
Considering last year that he lost the title and was turned on by the Death Riders, and part of that was the famous plastic bag over his head, where they were able to call that back in this contest. But again, and it was funny seeing Darby lose by being thrown in a coffin and the top is damaged. There was pieces missed out of it and that type of stuff. But it was good. I really enjoyed it. The Fatal 4-Way was maddening, because when you're in a Fatal 4-Way, this is your best way to do a title change without having to sacrifice your champion losing the title. That didn't happen this time. The champion was pinned in a Fatal 4-Way, not after 3 people beat her up, not after she took 3 finishers one from each person. It was a simple roll-up, and she lost the title. What a way for your top star, maybe on your entire roster, to lose the title. And for a championship reign to just go like, well, that went over like a fart in church. Like when Cody beat Roman Reigns. That was special. That was because there were so many people involved and stories rolling into one another and just chef's kiss. Instead of bringing up another challenger and having that person win in dominating fashion, it was a simple roll-up. And I'm not happy that, I mean, it's not like I'm not saying I'm not happy that Chris Statlander won, because I love Chris Statlander, but I was unhappy with the way it was done. Chris Statlander could have walked out as champion. She did not need to pin Toni Storm. And also, I will say that the tag team match was a lot better than anything that WWE put on at SummerSlam for their TLC match, which felt lame. And now you look at what AEW did, you look at who was involved. Of course, the Young Bucks were one of the highlights of the matchup with their innovative offense. I'm glad Team Bandito, or whatever they're called.
Brodito.
Brodito. I'm glad Brodito retained the title because they are one of the better tag teams in the company. Bandito is also making a strong case for one of the best wrestlers in the world, for that matter. But the big story that came out was Jack Perry, who has been teasing making his return. If you've been watching BTE, he has been calling and trying to get in contact with the Young Bucks. He went out and attacked the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks got the upper hand. And just when that happened, the lights go out, a vignette plays, and we see the returning Luchasaurus. Luchasaurus then comes in, attacks the Young Bucks, and Young Bucks retreat. And then you have Jack Perry and Luchasaurus in the ring together. They embrace. We hear the iconic music. And now Jack Perry is relevant again. After a failed heel turn, after a singles run that they tried and it just isn't going to work, he decided to go back to a boy and his dinosaur. So, hooray! Hooray! Luchasaurus, the Jurassic Express are back together again! Hooray! Hooray!
Hate it.
Well, what else are you going to do with them?
Fire.
Release it.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. That's I
Cry me a river.
I didn't like it then. I don't like it now. It just doesn't do anything for me.
I find it funny that the night that he gets together with, he has to get back with Luchasaurus because his heel turn failed. Not only is CM Punk in one of the main events of Wrestlepalooza, but so is his wife. And that wouldn't have happened had it been not for Jungle Boy. So
I hope that he knows that and thinks about that every time. And I hope that Tony knows that and thinks about that every time. And that's why I would fire him.
Tony is just shaking his head back and forth.
Like, I can't be in the same room as you ever again, so please, you're fired. Bye.
He just got off, like he got a heel turn and like a huge push after costing you like your biggest money star that you had. And
You literally
just
are the
okay
reason
with
that
it.
he unretired. He came back because of you and your company. And you let this
And you blew it.
idiot actor's son fuck it all up for you.
You blew it. It's just this guy who thinks he knows better. Mind you, I give him credit because he does have Anna Jay in his pocket, but I mean, see, you got to kind of tip the old cap.
But what does that say about
But-
her more than it says about him?
I know, right? It's like, really? This guy?
So you're saying there's a chance. All right, we still got to get to the last match. Sorry, not sorry, but the last match of the evening, the main event is for the AEW Championship. Hangman Adam Page defends against Kyle Fletcher. And if the Don Callis family interfered, Fletcher would have been disqualified and stripped of his own title, which was the AEW TNT Championship, which, ironically, was not even up for grabs in the first place. So,
Yes,
why did we do this?
the same stakes that they had for Mercedes and Tony Storm at All Out, All In Texas, where it was the only championship that was on the line was Tony Storm's World Championship, and the stakes were the same, but the TBS Championship was not on the line, and that's the same thing with this, where the world title was not on the line, but the TNT Championship was not. And you have Kyle Fletcher. Daniel Fletcher. Kyle Garcia. You have Kyle Fletcher.
One of them.
Yeah, exactly. One of these guys. It's probably going to get people going to be mad. Kyle Fletcher's going to be a great talent. Kyle Fletcher. Look, whatever. Okay, you can go on and sing his praises. Is he a good wrestler? Of course he is. You wouldn't be at this level if you were not good in the first place. I do feel like, though, that on paper, you're looking at this guy and you're like, there's no chance in hell he's going to win this match at all. And he shouldn't have. Because why are you going to take the belt off Hangman right now, considering the fact of he's your best character that you have? Like, he's one of the best overall wrestlers in the company. He's your biggest baby face. Of course you got to feed him to people who are going to get fed to him. But the guy goes from MJF to fucking Kyle Fletcher?
That's literally the biggest problem I took away with it. It's like I'm okay with Kyle Fletcher maybe being in the main event like in a year or two.
Yeah,
Not right
now.
Build him up. And putting a mid-card championship on him is the right way to do that. I'm okay with that. Not going against your world champion who just came off of... You can make the argument for two really good matches. The one against Moxley and the one against MJF. And I think that you have a wealth of other talent there that you arguably could put in that match instead.
Mind you, the match was very good. I
didn't hate it. But
that dead eye off the fucking top rope was absolutely insane.
yeah, it was.
Like, it was a move that could have been catastrophic for Kyle. Because... And for the move to happen, no one got hurt. Great.
Yep.
Was it dumb? Yes. It's not one that I would recommend be done, but I also look at it and say, Hangman knows what he's doing. I have to kind of give him the credit there. But it's another strong outing. I'm glad that they made this the main event, because that's also been my argument with when they have had Hangman as champion before, that they never really made him the focal point of the company, which I feel like now that they have learned that lesson in making him the main event of this, I would just I highly question their decision, however, to put Kyle Fletcher in this. Is he ready? Yeah. I think in ring, yeah, he's ready. I just don't think as a character and as far as people giving shit about him, that people are ready to give a shit about.
Well, let's put it this way, right? Like, just look at the rest of the card here. You had Brody King, you had Bandito, excuse me. You had Dipbox, you had Hichiro and Josh Alexander. You had Okada, you had Takashita, you had Mascara, you had Moxley, you had Eddie Kingston, Briscoe, and MJF. Like, I'm just naming a lot of guys that you could maybe put in his spot instead, despite any of the feuds that they're in. And that would have made more sense. I'm okay with pushing your talent, obviously. I think it's worth it to do so, but like, kind of like you mentioned, like he's not a top guy right now. He needs to work on the character more to get to that point, and I think that's a 100% fair thing to say. But like, why not have Adam Page versus a lot of these other guys that don't need that, and they can build up a feud in a couple weeks? Some of the booking decisions that Tony makes, I still don't really comprehend them, honestly. It's kind of what I'm getting at.
At least the show did not end with an injury angle like the last few have. It did last month and then a month before, where Will Ospreay had to be carried out both back-to-back months. It didn't happen this time again.
But can we just stop doing them, period?
I know. It's just like enough with the injury angles.
This is like the third or fourth show that we've kind of reviewed for them that they've had an injury angle.
Yes.
And it's just, dude, like, I understand, but there are only so many times that you can go to a well without refilling it before the well is just dry.
The craziness.
I don't need an injury angle anymore. I just don't.
The craziness of this morning, because the carryover from the show last night was Copeland and Christian had a vignette like backstage where he's just, Cope was like, I have to go. I have to be with my family. I can't keep doing this to them. In reaction to Beth getting injured by FTR. And there was a lot of speculation that Cope was leaving AEW to go back to WWE to be one of the final opponents for John Cena in his retirement tour.
Right.
However, PW Insider came out today and saying that no, that is not the case, because there was a rumor and also confliction that Cope's, keep calling him Edge, that Cope's contract was either he had one more year left on the deal, or it was going to end October 1st. That was the going rumor, which also begs me of like, if he's leaving, why are you having him win against FTR? His contract is not up. He is taking time off to go film the Percy Jackson series. So he's going to go do that instead of where everybody's been talking about, hey, he's just going to go back to WWE now to face John Cena. That's not going to happen. I guess the contract extends to next October and not this October. So we still get another year or so with Cope in AEW. So for all those people out there that were already fantasy booking of like, oh my God, Cope's coming back and blah, 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 blah. No, he is not.
If he came back and it was this year, it'd be that one match and that'd be it.
Pretty much.
So I mean, listen, like we all know that AJ Lee signed a multi-year contract. So first of all, great for her, but now we know we'll get more out of one match. But if he comes back at this point, being 50 plus, it would be for a Cena match, and that would be it.
Yeah, that would be it. And it would be on the short term, but he is going to be with AEW for the foreseeable future. He is not going back. But again, it was funny to hear that this morning. I even talked to Boo Ram about it because he was just like, you think Edge is going back? I'm like, I'm pretty sure he's not. And I just, if I don't hear, there's only one source that I believe, and that's PW Insider. When PW Insider gets it or says it, then I'm like, all right, because then I know it's legit. The only time that they strung me wrong was, but that was more on WWE's part than them, was the Seth Rollins injury angle. Because they were saying that the injury was real. And it did look real. And he may have gotten bad information because everybody, so to speak, may have thought that Rollins' injury was legit. And, they did get some crap for that, working the boys, so to speak. But what can you do?
I didn't believe them in that case, anyways. I didn't believe anybody until comes back out that night.
Till it happened, till December 7th.
Yeah, like it looked real though. I agree. It looked real though, like 100%. But it was like they're not saying anything about Money in the Bank. They're not doing any of this other stuff, and it's just like if that was real, you'd be talking about what you're gonna do with Money in the Bank. Like, there's just no way it was real to me. I get it, though. Like I said, I agree. It did look real. I thought it was real at first. But as time went on, I'm like, I don't think so, man. But, they did have the convincing video with Rowe chasing after him. So it was kind of one of those situations where it's like, shit, maybe. But yeah, those are the shows, man. Those were the shows. Just gonna say, I didn't care for either one. I think both had their highlights. Don't get me wrong, but overall, D for both.
I mean, AEW, I thought had the better wrestling. Of course,
I feel like that's always the case, honestly.
But it
if you
is.
want the action in the
is.
ring, you watch AEW. If you want to tell a story or watch a story, you go to WWE.
So I'll give, as far as an in-ring product, of course, AEW is going to win. And AEW is going to get a high grade as far as wrestling is concerned and wrestling ability. That it's always going to get a higher grade. It's always going to get a scale grade. But if I'm looking at the stories and some of the decisions that were made, it's a C show. WWE probably is more of a C and a D show myself.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it did better than WWE. Cool, great. But again,
Yeah, but
that's
you needed
like
14 fucking matches to do it, though.
I mean,
listen,
they
they
could have had less.
They could always. You don't need 14. If anything, the shorter PLEs have shown us from WWE is you don't.
Your main event should not be starting too when WWE's is just like their first match is just opening up.
That's a good point. So hold on a second. When did this show start? 2 p.m. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
3 p.m. Eastern. Okay.
Right.
So WWE started at 7, so that's already 4 hours.
Yep.
That's why I'm saying you don't need 14 matches.
You don't.
Do it. If it's a big show, which you can maybe make the argument that All Out is, I guess, but All In made sense for it to be as long as it was.
Oh, it was, yeah.
That is their premiere show for the year. WrestleMania being 2 nights and being 4 hours each night, same thing. Makes sense. It's your premiere show. This is arguably not one of them. You can maybe make the argument, okay, it's a big or for them or whatever, but you also know that you're going to get counter-programmed. Maybe you should try to do it in 3 hours. And if that means you got to cut the fat with maybe having less pre-show, which equals less matches as well, maybe do that. You don't need 14 matches the entire show.
You don't. You don't need to do that anymore. It's excessive. And you also burn out your audience in the crowd because there were plenty of times that audience this time were just silent. And you just look back and they're not moving. Like their big spots are happening and people are just like, because they've seen it all before. So you've desensitized these people to it.
So let me ask you a question real quick, because I didn't, like I said, I didn't watch it. I'm not going to pretend here. But did the camera work? Was the camera work more impressive than All Out?
I didn't even notice this time.
Really? Okay.
No, I didn't even notice that much this time like that. Because, oh, God, all in was so funny at certain points. Because I'm just like, it was like ADHD brain. And it was just, it was constant motion. It's like, zoom in, zoom out, zoom in, zoom out, zoom in, zoom out, zoom out, cut over this. And it's like they're making camera, like they're adjusting the camera.
Camera 3, camera
and the
5,
shots.
camera 3, zoom
it's
out.
Like, you don't make camera adjustments while you're in the live shot. You make the adjustments when you make the adjustments of placement of the people and all that stuff.
Yep.
When you're off, that camera is off camera and the focus is on the live camera. You go to the crane, something like that. Guy adjusts, then you go back. But they didn't do that. And I know it was so noticeable at All In that this time I didn't even really notice, to be quite honest.
It's a bummer.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to find some videos to how to watch and see how much
it's a giant drinking game. Every time there's a camera cut, we're just like,
I would die. Especially All Out, dude. I would have been dead in 10 minutes.
Almost like that Fifth Element.
Oh God, yeah.
Drinking game you guys decided to do.
All right, man.
Still hasn't healed.
Yeah, I don't think mine has either. Do you have anything else you want to go through tonight?
I do not. I feel like both shows and kind of were able to keep the best highlights of what's happened on television this past week as well, to follow up on the shows. It'll be interesting not to have to talk about pay-per-view next week. Right. So that way we can talk about like maybe some true crime and some other things. I'm the son of a preacher man.
Because I'm not booked.
Stay tuned for that next week, folks.
Seriously.
So be sure to check out our social media. Be sure to check us out on Diamond Podcasting Productions on YouTube for PWW Talks, or find PWW Talks on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcast. Mac, do you have anything you want to close out with tonight?
I do not.
Okay. All right, folks. So we will see you all next week. Thank you and bye.